So we are currently doing the semifinals of the Monroe sweeper here. On lane 31-32, you have number 1 seed Marcus McLean going against Joe Groden, which is 5 seed. Right now they get 1 ball on each lane of practice, and then they get to start. We also have Brian over there streaming the other semifinal pair on lane 27-28. That is Justin Knowles, 2 seed, against 3 seed Chuck Reynolds Jr. Haha, I can see chat. We are currently checking if these are getting streamed. Old video and then 2 live streams. Awesome. All right, so we are connected to YouTube. So if you guys want to place any comments, go ahead. Okay, that's awesome, man. Ooh, good ball with a wrap 10 pin for Joe. And Joe picked that 10 pin up onto So you can kind of see lane 27-28 over there. You have Marcus with a slow falling 5 pin. That ended up going backwards. Now he's actually going to bowl 2 frames back to back. So, you know, we were trying to get live stream up for the last final, but for some reason it just wasn't working for us. So we got it up for semis. We got Marcus here with another straight. He's throwing a really good ball today. He's been throwing a good one the whole tournament. You have Joe up here now in lane 32. That was another good ball. He kind of got robbed on his first frame there with that wrap 10 pin going on. Like I said, you guys are always more than welcome to, comment on these, and I can always read them off. We did get that one really wide out there. He left the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10 here. Oh, is he shooting it? Picked up the 1, 2, 4 here. Left a nice open here for Marcus. Ooh, and Marcus carries the 10 pin with a sweeper. Yeah, the 7 pin come all the way across and take that 10 out. You do see that quite often in bowling, but sometimes it's a blessing when it happens. So I know a lot of you guys do come to these Sprummer sweepers. They're always fun to bowl. I personally, Brielle, bowl myself. You have Marcus over here just tearing it up. See you later. So most of the time you have quite a few people that stay around and watch, but tonight is a different story. There's not a lot of people that live by Monroe, so they like to go home, saying the fact that a lot of people have about an hour drive home or more. So Marcus just doubled. Alright, Marcus is up the bowl here. Right now he has the front 4. And yes, everyone, we do ballet moves. Hopefully that we can get some carry, and that's why we do them. Over on the other lane, you have Chuck and Justin in the 3rd and 4th frame. Looks like Chuck is struggling a little bit, but picking up his spares. Then you have Justin, who is so far currently bowling a Dutch Bakers. So Dutch Baker is can end up being a 1 or 200 game on the nose if it continues, as it will go strike spare all the way through. And you have Joe that just left a 9 pin. Picked it up. He is quite frustrated, all because of that frame 3 of having that open going on. Even when he's frustrated, though, he still throws a pretty good ball. All right, you got Marcus up here again. Marcus ended his 6-strike streak here with leaving a 2-4. And he did cover it. So none of these guys should be ashamed of how they are bowling. Let alone, they did make it to qualifying. And that alone isn't always the easiest thing to do, especially on this pattern. It was a 38-foot pattern. You know, it was high volume in the middle and nothing really on the outside. So it was hooking a lot. So right now they're kind of on the burn. And sometimes it plays in your hand and other times it doesn't. So we just had Marcus pick up a 4-pin with hooking at it, which a lot of the times people always say, you know, when you hook it leaves a lot of error or room for error there. But he was pretty accurate on his spares today, let alone how he is the number 1 seed. Joe threw a nice ball and it just came up a little high. You know, he left the 3-4, which is considered a split, and it is also one of the harder splits to actually get. So after this, Marcus will be going on to the finals. Over on the other pair, they are in the 5th and 6th, or going into the 6th frame here. You have Chuck, who is going into the 6th frame off of a 9 spare. And then you have Justin Knowles, who is going off of a strike. It is actually a really close game over there. In the 4th frame, Chuck had 62 and Justin had 66. It is a neck-and-neck game for who's going to end up being first or second. Marcus ended up with a 247 game. That is a really good game, especially for this pattern. It is probably one of the tougher ones that we have bowled on this year so far for the series. Joe just kind of struggled this game. You know, it happens. Sadly, it happened in the semifinals. But it does happen. I mean, today I know I struggled. Started off really good and then kind of went downhill from there. And Mr. Joe ended the game with a 180. So Marcus will be going on to the final round here, and he'll be playing either Chuck or Justin. Right now it's still pretty neck and neck over there. Justin is currently up. He has a determines his ball, what he has at the moment. He has a 106 in the 6th frame, coming off of a strike. Now we have Mr. Chuck, who is coming off of a spare. So once he throws his first ball, we will know what his score is for the 6th frame. In the 5th frame, he currently has a 79.
All right, sounds good, man. Thank you for running. No problem. Thanks for coming out. No problem.
Also want to sit here and say thank you to Brian for running the tournaments. Without him, us bowlers would be very bored during the summer and not have many things to do besides, do what most bowlers do and go golf. So Chuck actually pulled a strike, which brings him up to 99 in the 6th frame. So it's really close. They are only 7 pins difference. Both of them on a strike in the 7th frame. Came a little low. And he left a 2 pin. From my angle, I don't have the best angle of whether or not he leaves a 6 and 10. So I do have to wait until the monitor tells me what he left. I mean, it is a pretty close game over here. And did he get it? He did. He picked up that 2 pin. Great bowling, Joe.
Thanks.
All right. Comes to Justin to see what he can do in the 8th frame here.
Here we go. You're just going to keep it going? Okay, you can do the finals if you want. All right. So if you're watching this one.
Yeah, there's not really a point to stop it.
Well, I got 4 people over here now. They came from yours and watched mine.
Yeah, I don't have the best angle.
Oh, okay. Well, you're getting 29 and 30 for the finals.
I know. I have the paper. So, sorry about the commentary between Brian and I over here. We are going back and forth of who's going to be streaming the last set here. And it will be mine. So if you guys do want to watch this final set, come and watch off of my stream. Justin did throw a 9 spare in the 8th frame. He has a 126 in the 7th. Possibly a 136 to a 146 in the 8th, depending on what he gets in his first ball of the 9th frame. So Justin left a nice split. 6, 7, 10. It's actually one of the harder splits to pick up. He has to hit it just right to slide that 6 pin over to the 7 pin and pick that up. And he picked the 10 off. He left a pretty big opening here for Chuck. So in the 9th frame, Justin has a 151 with an open. So he did leave a pretty big opening here for Chuck to do something. Let's see if he can stand up his courage and do it. Right now he has a 119 with a spare in the 8th frame. Threw a decent ball, came a little high, and left the 4-7. So he has a 137 in the 8th frame with a 8 count in the 9th. And let's see if he can sit here and manage to pick it up. Can he do it? He did. So he did spare for the 9th frame to set up for the 10th. That's pretty good to do that there. So like I said, this score is still neck and neck with Justin at a 151 in the 9th frame And Chuck, we would need to know his first ball in the 10th to know what his score is. He is anywhere between a 147 and a 157 score for the 9th. So he did leave a split at the beginning of the 10th frame. He is the 3, 6, 7, 10. Again, it's not the easiest splits to pick up here. I mean, you have to hit this just right to slide you have to slide the 3 over to hit that 7 pin. Can he do it? And he did. He had a nice split conversion there, taking up the 3, 6, 7, 10. He has a 153 in the 9th frame with a 6 spare in the 10th. He has one more ball to figure out what his final score is going to be, and then he has to sit here and bite his nails, hoping that Justin chokes. So he did leave a stone 9 pin. He has a 172 ending his game for Chuck. Now let's see if Justin can hold it together and manage to get, he has to get 2 strikes. He has to get the first 2 in the 10th frame. He came through with the first one. He needs the next strike here. And then count, some sort of count in order to move on. So again, like I said, it's been a close match, this whole match for these two gentlemen. Let's see if Justin can get this last strike here. No, and Justin did not. So the final match will be number 1 seed Marcus McLean against Chuck Reynolds, 3 seed. Stay tuned. The camera is going to get a little bit shaky here, guys, as I move it. So again, that was a really close match for these gentlemen. They really pushed through here. So again, the final match is going to be on lane 29 and 30 with number 1 seed Marcus McLean going against number 3 seed Chuck Reynolds.
2 on each. Marcus, what number were you in? 1. So Marcus, that's choice. Chuck, is that all you did? Was you locking it like an extra 2 feet? Or did you move left too? On the left lane when you left the split. Oh, right a little bit. Oh, I thought you locked it more. Trying to get the last one came up light over there. I thought it was really good. I thought you did both of them very good. Neither one was stuck. Oh my god. Jason Kelly. Oh. Holy crap, man. These chairs.
Are they a little low for you, Brian?
Huh?
A little low for you?
Oh, well,
Getting a little old there?
Forward too. I don't think that did any favors for them. I know.
I thought I was one with the knee problem. All right. Sorry, everyone. So, for this tournament, we had no one go plus. You had Marcus 1 seed with a 797. You had Justin Knowles at 2 seed with a 787. You had Chuck Reynolds Jr. with a 786. You had Amber Elliott with a 776. You had Joe Groden with a 775. You had Antonio Vernon with a 769. You have Gary Quintance with a 758. You had Ty Zeroff with a 752. Caleb Slaughter with a 752. You had Brad Del Marley with a 773. Nick Riley with a 732. You had Eric Dashner with a 704. Shane Rusnick with a 692. Aaron Edmond with a 687. Justin McClevey with a 684. You had, and 16th, you had Derek Austin with a 679. 17th, you had Jose Modic with a 675. You had Brielle Newberry with a 652. You had Mark Langley with a 631. And 20th, you had Mike Bonnet with a 614. And 21st, you had Eddie Quasino with a 593. You had Sam Bonnet with a 573. You had Cody Slinker with a 566. Joe Bonnet with a 557, and Jonathan Trombley with a 517, rounding it off for 25 bowlers today. We are down to our last 2 bowlers. You have number 1 seed Marcus McLean against number 3 seed Chuck Reynolds. So because Marcus was number 1, he does get first pick of who he goes first and what lane. And he chose to go first on lane 29. He did leave a pretty flat 10 on that one, but it was still a pretty good ball. All he has to do is change a little bit of positioning there, and he will be all right. I got 3.
You're on a different browser. Did you click any of these things here?
No.
Okay.
So Marcus did pick up his 10 from there, so now it's up to Chuck.
That's way better. Way better. All right.
I know. It's great.
Yeah, mine didn't turn out nearly as good as that. Like, you're getting a lot more area than I was.
I'm also a lot higher too.
No, it's not that. It's your tablet.
So you did have Chuck with the first strike here going on. Can't tell I like commentary. I also read all the scores again.
Oh, there you
I
go.
know you already did it once.
Yeah, well, different channel. It's all good. How many you got? 3?
3.
Nice.
So Brian is here with me if anyone would like to say hi in the comments.
Nobody's chatting. What the heck? Chat it up, guys.
So we do have deadwood here. So deadwood is when there is a pin in the gutter that the sweeper could not get.
In case you're new to bowling. You never know.
You always got to explain just in case.
You need this right now?
No, you're good. So Marcus did have a bye on the first round. You just had Chuck here bowl another strike, so he does have a double going on.
If I could make it do that. It wasn't like it was locked. No. I'll go back and watch them both and see what they're looking like. First one.
That was a really good ball for Marcus there. He did strike, which leaves him 20 pins in the first frame.
What do you have? What browser?
Safari.
Yeah,
Was mine more clear?
I don't know if it was more. I don't know.
Oh.
It covered more all the way around. Like your back end is showing bigger too.
Mm-hmm.
Mine wasn't doing that.
I have a better camera.
Probably. Might just be that. The camera.
So this is our first live stream. Brian and myself are trying to figure out or at least the finals. You did have Marcus throw a double here. And now he's up to Chuck. Let's see what he can do.
Oh, yeah, true. It's like that.
Ooh. And Chuck is putting the pressure on with a turkey already. So he is putting some pressure here on Marcus and already in the beginning of the frames. Thank you for all who are viewing. As for I know it is pretty late. I mean, it's almost 11 o'clock here. Ooh. We have Chuck with a 4-bagger going on. Let's see what Marcus can do here. If he can keep up with Mr. Chuck Reynolds Jr. or he falls apart. He is trying his hardest to keep up here with Chuck as he did strike and landed a turkey. Again, we have Deadwood, which is a pin in the gutter that the sweeper could not get to sweep back. Thanks, Brian. Scratch Bowling Series. That is Brian saying hi to everyone. So if anyone would like to say hi to him, let us know. You know, you can always comment there. Ooh. He did have a wrap 10 pin. It was a really good ball. Again, all he would have to do is a small adjustment to get that 10 pin out of there. This would be his second adjustment of the game if he does make it. Thank you, Kevin, for tuning in. Always great to see other bowlers watching. We did have Marcus pick up his 10 pin there. He has a 99 in the 4th frame with a 9 spare in the 5th. And Chuck returns back with a 5-bagger. He has been doing pretty good all night as for I have been watching him bowl. Mostly everyone struggled in the first game, and then everyone started shooting some scores after that. That ball did come a little high and leave a nice 4-pin for Mr. Chuck here. So again, we would like to say thank you to Brian for running these tournaments and keeping us bowlers alive even during the summer here. We would also like to say thank you to all of the bowling alleys that let us bowl here. If it wasn't for bowling alleys, us bowlers would be out of business. So you have Marcus with another flat 10 pin. You're welcome, Brian. You have Marcus with a 118 going for a 6. Chuck with a 139 with a 6 frame of a 9 spare. And Marcus did feel this we can string some strikes together here. He could possibly win this. It's a pretty close match for these fellas. And he did carry with a strike there in the 7th frame for Marcus. He has a 138 in the 6th frame right now. That's up to Chuck. Let's see if this little bit of pressure gets to him or not. So that ball did come a little late for Chuck, tripping the 4 pin forward, leaving the 2-8 out there on the lanes. Now most people will use their regular ball to pick this up because of that sleeper. If they try using a plastic ball, that plastic ball could ricochet off that first pin and miss that second pin behind it. And Chuck did pick those both up there. Chuck does have a 157 in the 6th frame with the 7th frame of his 8 spare. He is about to bowl his 8th frame here. And he covered back with a strike in the 8th frame. Chuck now has a 177 in the 7th frame. That did make a pretty decent gap there. Marcus will possibly need to strike out in order to win this match. Nice ball, and he did strike there. Marcus does now have a double in the 8th frame. In the 6th frame, he did have a 138. Let's see what this is here. He did strike, so he does have a 168 in the 7th frame to a 177 in the 7th frame for Chuck. So again, this is becoming a very close match. They're only roughly 9 pins apart in the 7th frame, with both of them having a strike in the 8th and Marcus having a strike in the 9th. Chuck did get that inside to where it went really high on the nose and ended up leaving a 610. That did leave an opening there for Mr. Marcus to come back.
Is that cool for helping? Thanks. What we got here?
One more, that would have been my entry.
Right. Almost.
So we do have Chuck going in the 10th frame. In the 8th frame, he has a 197 with an 8 spare in the 9th.
So 58 to 47, huh? They both punch.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's a very close game again.
Bounced a little bit.
He's been doing that.
As they have.
Mm-hmm. So as you guys heard, Brian did say that Chuck is bouncing his ball. He's playing some X-ball with the lanes. So again, he did strike. He does have a 217 in the 9th frame with a first strike in the 10th. And there's a double in the 10th frame for Chuck.
Oh, at least I got some. This started to speed up too. Which still is hard, but better.
So again, we are going to try and start live streaming the finals for everyone. So please subscribe to the channel. And Chuck did punch it out, ending with 3 strikes with a 247 game. So Marcus here in the 10th, he was our number 1 seed. Ooh, he had a slow falling 10th in there with a 7 coming in to sweep it out. And he does have to wait because there is some deadwood. So right now we have Marcus with a 4-bagger, the first one in the 10th. He has a 198 in the 8th frame. There we go. He needs one more strike. If he gets a 9 count, they tie. And there we go. We have Marcus McLean with a 258 against Chuck Reynolds Jr. with a 247. Like I said, throughout the whole game, it was a close match. Again, we would like to thank Brian for running all these tournaments for us bowlers. We'd like to thank all the centers for letting us bowl. And for everyone who showed up, thank you for coming out. And for all you watching, thank you for tuning in and watching the final match here. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night.